My name is Brent Bolin. I have been doing work on the Anacostia since about 2004, when I was 16 years old. And so that usually gets a laugh. All right, that's better. My story really starts, though. I grew up in Cleveland playing in a creek that was a tributary to the Cuyahoga River. And so, it's funny because, without fail, every national conference I go to on water, somebody talks about the Cuyahoga catching on fire. So if you hear some weird guy in the back shouting, "Too soon," that's me. Because I'm just like, I got to hear about this at every conference. Come on, Administrator Jackson. So that was kind of how I got my start. And I went to grad school for law and public policy because I thought I wanted to be Jennifer when I grew up. And then I still kind of do. And then the summer before my last year of grad school, I wanted to do something really different, so I went to Vermont and worked as a grassroots organizer. And about 2 weeks into the summer, I was like, this is awesome. I found my calling, and I'm like 1 year from completing a graduate law school, and I want to be a grassroots organizer. So that was unfortunate. So when I was done with that, I moved out to D.C., and because where else do you go with degrees in environmental law and policy? And so that was sort of how I got my start. I started volunteering with Friends of Sligo Creek, who's probably like the best volunteer group around, at least in the water world. And I'm so glad to see Dr. Phelps because I've known her at least that long, since back in those days when I was just a volunteer advocate. So I've been doing Anacostia stuff for a long time, and it's, after the summer I spent in Vermont, I thought I really wanted to do like lands preservation work and wilderness stuff, because I felt I'd also been interested in like urbanism and city issues when I was in school, and I sort of see those as the same side as the flip coin of the same coin, right? It's like if we have high quality cities, maybe we could have a little bit less sprawl development, and on the other hand, we really need to preserve those wild spaces that we have left because there aren't that many left. So I was really into that, but then renting a crappy apartment in Silver Spring, there wasn't like a lot of wilderness preservation going on right here in the metro area. So I ended up volunteering with Friends of Sligo Creek, and that was how I got connected to all of this. And then eventually they figured out that I actually had some background in this stuff, so I started doing outreach and communications from them, and then it's just kind of gone from there. So it's been a really great ride for me. So a little bit about the organization. I'm with Clean Water Action now. I'm the Chesapeake Regional Director, so I oversee our programs in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. We have our staff's in 2 offices. About half the Maryland program sits in our Baltimore office, and the other half of us sit here in DC about 2 blocks away with our national staff. So that's a lot of fun, and one of the things that makes Clean Water Action interesting is that we run a field canvas. So speak of the Clean Water Act, we were founded around that time and helped get it passed. We used to be the Clean Water Action Project back in the day. So that's something we've been doing for a long time. So 52 weeks a year, we send people out from our DC and Baltimore offices to knock doors and bring the issues to people. And so we did a lot of work on the Clean Water Rule at the policy level and at the local level, and I think we did, was it 1 million or 1.5 million comments that we had turned in? Anyway,
over 1 million.
It was over 1 million. I think it might have been as many as 1.5 million. So the people that have to scan all the handwritten letters in an EPA, they love us because we kept them employed for a really long time. So that's what we do. We're that grassroots people power piece of it. And so, I think everybody has given a really strong overview of what the issues we're facing are. It's bacteria, stormwater, toxics, and trash. And for 3 of those 4 things, we have strong regulatory measures in place. The 4th one, toxics, is the one that's near and dear to my heart. And that's the one that's undone. And so progress is starting to be made. DC government's moving forward with some stuff. But I think, this is the fight that's left. There's a lot of implementation stuff, and that's great. A lot of groups are building projects, and that's great. But it's going to take time to do all of the work that needs to be done on some of the regulatory measures we have in place. And so this is the part of me that is good that I'm not a lawyer, because I'm glad that we have those measures in place, but I don't have the patience for waiting for some of it to happen, which is why I'm really into the citizen action part of it. And what I see as being like core to this movement and our mission as an organization is we need to get people power behind this. The DC government, all those polluters, we're not going to see a $750 million check wrote if nobody cares. So people need to care. And the environmental movement started really as being about people. It was an outside game movement. And then we got more sophisticated and we got good at the inside game. We kind of forgot about the outside game. And so I really believe that at this moment we've accomplished about all we're going to accomplish with the inside game, and we're going to accomplish about all we're going to accomplish with the people that we have at the table. And so I'm really believe in bringing more people to the table, all across the board, diverse communities, geographies, issues. One of the things that really motivates me in terms of why I do this work is, one, is that childhood growing up next to a creek. That was really important to me. Two, now I have a 4-year-old, and every time we go by the river, he says, "The mighty Anacostia," which is my favorite thing ever. And like that's really important to me, but I'm also really driven by the social justice part of it. And I think that, the disproportionate impact that is experienced by those who are overburdened by pollution, like that's what really motivates me. Like I'm not super motivated by like the yacht owners and stuff like that. Like I'm motivated by the people whose families have lived in River Terrace for 3 generations. And this current generation like got to see those towers come down, which is amazing. And I just think that that's really important. And so, building a bigger, more inclusive movement, using our people power to get out there and drive that is something that's really meaningful to me. And I just really think that that's the work that needs to be done. Like I said, these regulatory measures are in place. It's going to happen eventually. It can happen faster if there's more political will and more money, which means people. And so I think getting people to care is a big difference. And I think a number of people have said this, but when I started this 10 years ago, if I had said, luxury condo overlooking the Anacostia, they would have put me in St. Elizabeth, which I think was still open at the time. And so, like, it's really been a huge change of perception, and that's great. And, money talks, and they're spending $25 billion in the Capital Riverfront bid, and that makes a big difference in terms of, like, the resources that are available to make this kind of stuff happen. So I think Chris's point is well taken, is we need to not let that be the driver of what we're doing. Because, I think if 10 years from now the toxics in the river are cleaned up, but there's condos on Boathouse Row instead of the, seafarers and the other clubs that have been there for a couple generations, then we've failed as a movement. And I firmly believe that, and I've had enough conversations with people in communities to know that that's a real concern. And you look around DC and you can see why. So that's sort of my piece of it, and that's what drives me is, kind of really bringing the people to the change and making it go.
Excellent. Thank you.